Today I'm sharing 17 things that I buy every single week as a nutritionist. These are foods that help me feel energized, give me the nutrients that my body needs, and create delicious, satisfying meals that my entire family loves. Let's dive into it. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition human performance, and today's video is sponsored by Gem. More on them in a bit. Now, longtime viewers of my channel might think that they accidentally clicked on a video from like 2019 because of my background. This is in fact a current video. I'm just visiting family, so I'm currently in my old setup for like the next couple videos. But anyway, that first food is whole milk. I really like the brand Alexander A2 milk. Honestly, the taste of it is just fantastic, but it's also grass-fed, and grass-fed dairy tends to be higher in an important vitamin called vitamin K2, which is very crucial for heart health and bone health. I get specifically whole milk and not a low-fat option because low-fat is a lot lower in vitamin K2. I also just love that this brand is regenerative, which is very important for overall soil health in the future. And we use so much whole milk. We use it to make lattes pretty much every day. I specifically make a 1/3 caffeinated latte. I also love making protein hot chocolates as like a nighttime little treat. Occasionally I'll use it in smoothies, but this is a little less often. Usually I like to use almond milk, or honestly, I'll just drink it by the cup because I did not grow up having milk, and now as an adult, I absolutely love milk. And my daughter Sage is absolutely obsessed with milk too. Okay, the second food is whole chicken. Now I'm currently pregnant with my second baby, and during the second pregnancy, I've not been able to tolerate my all-time favorite protein, which is red meat or beef. I just feel my best with it. It's more nutrient dense than chicken, but unfortunately right now chicken is like my go-to. So in order to try and make it a little more nutrient dense and also to make it more flavorful, I like getting a whole chicken and roasting it up. This helps to prevent it from getting dry. It's also substantially less expensive, and cooked with the skin and the bone on, it helps to release some of the collagen into the chicken. Plus, my actual all-time favorite thing about a whole chicken is it kind of looks like a little Hobbit feast, which I'm totally here for. Okay, the third thing I always buy is full-fat skyr and or cottage cheese. Skyr is very similar to Greek yogurt, except it's a little bit higher in protein than Greek yogurt. The full-fat versions of both of these dairy products also is going to be rich in vitamin K2, and I like to use either of these in smoothies or in breakfast bowls. And then not so often, but occasionally I will also use some yogurt with some like oat flour and a probiotic capsule to make my own DIY facial. Not all the time, but it is something like fun to do every now and then. Okay, the fourth thing I buy every single week is eggs. Thankfully, I can eat so many eggs right now. Like, eggs are not a problem, which is great because eggs are so rich in choline, which is so important for memory and brain health, as well as for the developing baby. Most mornings, my breakfast has been scrambled eggs. And although we do have chickens, they are currently not laying, so we have to buy a lot of eggs. Typically, we end up buying about like 3 to 4 dozen for the week because we go through a lot of eggs. Okay, the fifth thing I've been buying every single week is either Ezekiel bread or sourdough, like real sourdough. So I recently started to eat a little bit more bread, and I had my mind change fairly recently about bread, so if you want that full video, I'll have it linked right up here. But especially while pregnant, I've enjoyed having a little bit of bread, like one slice to go along with my scrambled eggs. I found that especially during first trimester, it helped to settle my stomach a bit. And Ezekiel bread is sprouted, and it has a combination of different legumes as well as grains, so you get actually a more complete protein source out of that toast to complement the eggs. And then I'll get a real sourdough. Either I'll make it myself or I'll buy it from a local bakery that I know uses the real traditional methods of the slow fermentation, so it helps to break down more of that gluten and make it more digestible. Okay, the sixth thing I buy every single week is either blueberries, raspberries, or strawberries. It really depends on what's in season and what looks good. And we also go through a lot of these, especially with like a 1.5-year-old. We put them on protein waffles, we put it in yogurt bowls. Also, even just have like some berries on the side of my egg scramble. I also like to take raspberries or blueberries or strawberries and mash it up into like a chia jam that doesn't have any added sugar. Although during the fall and winter, when these aren't really in season, what I'll get instead will be like pears or apples. And then when it's in season, I'll also get occasionally peaches or plums. So pretty much just like whatever fruit is in season, we'll opt for that. But berries are definitely like our all-time favorite. They tend to be higher in fiber and low glycemic load, which means they're not going to really spike the blood sugar level, and they just taste great. And speaking of high quality whole foods, I want to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Gem. Gem is a really cool whole food multivitamin supplement, and I'm typically not a fan of most multivitamin brands because they use low quality ingredients and fillers, or they're not in their bioavailable form. I've been super impressed with Gem for using whole food ingredients while still covering so many nutritional bases. Plus, it honestly just tastes so good. Like, I actually look forward to taking it. It's slightly tangy, a little bit sweet, and I like to take one per day along with my breakfast. Along with their multivitamin supplement, I've also been really loving their Chill Out Magnesium Bite. It has magnesium and L-theanine, which works really well for my body to reduce anxiety levels and make me feel more calm when I'm a bit stressed. Yes, Gem believes in eating vitamins the way nature intended. Each of their multivitamin bites are packed with over 20 whole food vitamins, minerals, superfoods, prebiotics, and probiotics to help fill the gaps in daily nutrition. I love that Gem is a chewable vitamin made from whole food ingredients like fermented chickpeas for vitamin K2, quinoa sprouts for B vitamins, turmeric for inflammation, and pumpkin seeds and trace minerals for zinc. Gem takes a holistic approach to health and uses whole food ingredients that work best together to best be absorbed by the body. And right now for my community, Gem is offering 50% off your first month. So head over to dailygem.com/autumnbates and use my code autumnbates at checkout so you don't miss out on the discount. I'll also have it linked down in the description below. Okay, the 7th thing I buy every single week is bananas, like kind of a lot of bananas. Yes, bananas are medium glycemic load. They do have a bit more sugar, but typically we're not eating bananas just like on their own. We're eating it in combination with other protein, fat, and fibers, which helps to really stabilize the blood sugar response. It helps to add a little bit of that whole food sweetness to a meal. For example, we'll use like a half of a banana in our protein pancakes. I've also lately liked mashing it into chia pudding. My daughter Sage also likes having a egg and banana like protein pancake that we'll also put some yogurt on top of. So we do go through quite a bit of bananas because protein pancakes are a big hit in this family. Typically we go through between 1.5 to 2 bananas a day. So we usually have to buy like 14 bananas a week. Okay, the 8th thing we buy every single week is peanut butter or almond butter. We usually go through one of either of these per week. We go through cycles of whichever one we're really enjoying at the moment, but we don't use either of these nut butters as a form of protein. We purely use it for a high quality source of fat. The protein from either almond or peanut butter is very low quality. It's also pretty low in protein, so it's not one that I would really count as a protein source. Instead, I do find it a great way to boost the fat content of the meal and help to prevent cravings later on. So I'll put a couple tablespoons in smoothies to boost the fat content, or of course I'll put some peanut butter or almond butter on a yogurt or a chia bowl. And then of course my husband Trevor and Sage will also like take a couple spoonfuls of it. Okay, number 9 is bone broth. Since I'm currently not eating beef because my body just cannot tolerate it while pregnant, unfortunately, I'm still at least trying to have bone broth every week. And that's because it provides not only the minerals, but also the collagen that my body really desperately needs right now. And because I am a mom and a business owner and honestly just very busy, I do typically buy it. It is really fun to make. It can be very enjoyable, but I just don't have the time. The whole process isn't complicated to make bone broth. Like you just take some bones, you can roast it if you want, you add some veggies, you add some flavorings, and you let it simmer for many, many hours. But then you have to let it cool for the proper amount of time and strain out the broth and then pour it out into individual containers and then make sure you have enough freezer space to store it. Just honestly, right now, I don't have the time. So I do buy 1 to 2 cartons of bone broth from Kettle and Fire per week, and I'll use it in something like my chickpea and chicken Moroccan stew, which is so flavorful and really easy to sneak in the bone broth, or my pumpkin sausage pasta, which is like one of the most popular recipes on my blog. I'll have that link down in the description below if you want to check it out. And pretty much any other way that I can sneak it in, it's in a lot of my dinners. Okay, the 10th is 1/3 caffeinated coffee. Now, Purity Coffee is my all-time favorite coffee. They came out with their 1/3 caffeinated coffee about 2 years ago, I think. And it was roughly a year ago that I made the switch over to the 1/3 caffeinated coffee. It still provides just enough that caffeine to get a little bit of that boost, but because the caffeine is so low, I'm not having any troubles falling asleep at night, which is great. And although we aren't technically buying it every week because we get a subscription where we get 4 of those bags every month, we do go through about 1 bag a week. I'll also have Purity Coffee linked down in the description below if you want to check them out. It's the only coffee brand that I've been using for like 8 years now. They're organic, mold-free, they're amazing, taste great, so good. Okay, the 11th is fresh ginger. We buy a fresh root every week because we like to make ginger lemon tea. So we'll just chop up some fresh ginger with some lemons from our tree and let that simmer in a pot of water. And we'll even leave the same pot with the ginger and lemon on the stovetop for a couple of days and just keep refilling some water in it. We usually like to have the ginger lemon tea at night because the ginger helps you stimulate the migrating motor complex, which helps to flush out left behind food and bacteria that normally causes bloating. So it's really important for gut health, and it just tastes so good. Especially if you're looking for something warming at the end of the day, but you don't want to have caffeine, that is such a great alternative. Okay, the 12th thing we buy every week is avocado. I actually forgot about avocado for a while. I wasn't having it for a bit. I just wasn't in the routine of buying it, but recently I've just been like obsessed with avocado again. It's a high quality fat, but it also has fiber, so it's something that I call a fiber fat. And it's actually like surprisingly rich in fiber. I love it. I put it on my eggs. I'll also make guacamole if we're having like tacos or chili, or I'll top it on salad. And Sage, my daughter, loves avocado as well. So we definitely go through like at least 2 to 3 avocados each week. Okay, the 13th thing I buy every week is unsweetened almond milk. Now, in the past, I've made my own homemade coconut milk. It does take only like 3 to 5 minutes to make. It is really easy. But again, all the moms out there can understand me in saying like even that extra 3 to 5 minutes is just like 3 to 5 minutes too long for me right now. So lately I've been making sure to keep things simple for myself so that I can still have high quality home cooked meals, but not overwhelm myself. And I like to use unsweetened almond milk mixed with some Greek yogurt or skyr rather in my chia pudding, as well as the base of my protein smoothies. Okay, the 14th thing I buy every week is frozen spinach or kale. I also will alternate between these two. I like buying frozen over fresh most of the time because frozen is pre-cooked and then frozen, which means that it helps to break down some of those anti-nutrients that's going to be in spinach and kale and makes it more digestible. And it's not going to go bad very quickly. So I can throw it in a smoothie, or I can just like add it in last second into something like that Moroccan chickpea stew I mentioned earlier. Add a boost to those high quality dark leafy green veggies, and it's really easy. Okay, the 15th thing I buy every week is either cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, or broccoli. I kind of cycle between any of these, as well as cabbage. That's also another one. All of the cruciferous veggies, I cycle through those. Each of these are more hearty vegetable bases to a meal. One of my all-time go-to favorites is just roasting cauliflower with paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, and salt, and a little bit of cayenne. So good, so tasty. Also, my daughter Sage loves it. I'll make broccoli soup with broccoli. That's for my 7-day detox program. I'll have that pop up here if you want to check that out. And then Brussels sprouts will saute up, which is like a bunch of butter and some olive oil and some salt. Keep it simple and just get a little crispy. So good. Cabbage I like to pair with canned tuna. So I'll just like chop up some cabbage with some onions or some other herbs that I might have on hand, put some rice vinegar, some olive oil, and make like a little slaw. Also very refreshing and crunchy, and I'm drooling right now. Sounds great. Okay, the 16th thing I buy every week is either canned pumpkin or canned coconut. This is another one that I'll cycle back and forth between because I'll kind of use them interchangeably. Both can be used in like stews or chilies, and both can be used in chia puddings. Each has different benefits. Like coconut's going to have more fat to boost satiety, as well as some of those medium chain triglycerides or MCTs. And then pumpkin is going to add some flavor, some fiber, as well as a lot of beta carotene. In fact, probably my most famous use of canned pumpkin is my pumpkin chili recipe from my 21-day intermittent fasting program. That's typically one of people's favorite recipes from all of my different programs. So good, so simple, such a crowd pleaser. Okay, the 17th thing that I buy every week is my protein powder. We go through at least one bag of my protein powder every week because I specifically developed my protein powder to actually taste great in recipes. We only use 100% pure whey protein isolate, which is the lowest lactose form of whey. So it's the easiest whey to digest for most people. And because I specifically developed the protein powder to actually taste great in recipes, it tastes so good in things like my protein pancakes or added into chia pudding or in a protein smoothie or a protein hot chocolate. Oh my gosh, like all such easy, delicious ways to add in a 0 added sugar protein powder and bump up the protein content of the meal. In fact, if you guys want to check out my absolutely famous chocolate chip protein waffles that helped me lose 20 pounds postpartum, I'll have that recipe linked right up here. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.